As we move toward 2026, this is not just another year arriving on the calendar, this is an invitation. An invitation to consciously choose a new belief system, to rewrite the narrative you've been telling yourself, and to deliberately craft the script that will guide your life forward. Because whether we realize it or not, we are all living inside a story. A story about who we are, what's possible for us, what we deserve, and how the world responds to us. And the most important thing to understand right now is this: that story is editable. You are not bound by the old script. You are not obligated to keep repeating beliefs that were formed during moments of fear, survival, or conditioning. 2026 is asking you to become purposeful, not reactive. To stop living by default and start living by design. For most people, belief systems are inherited, not chosen. They come from family dynamics, early emotional experiences, cultural expectations, past failures, or even moments when someone else projected their limitations onto you. Over time, these beliefs become automatic programs in the subconscious mind. Neuroscience shows that the brain is essentially a prediction machine. It constantly scans the past to anticipate the future, firing the same neural circuits over and over again. According to research in neuroplasticity, thoughts that are repeated become wired, and what's wired becomes familiar, and what's familiar feels true, even when it's not. This is why stepping into a new year without rewriting the inner narrative often produces the same results, just dressed up in a new calendar year. This is where intention becomes everything. Intention is not wishful thinking. Intention is the conscious direction of energy. When you choose a new belief, you are not denying reality, you are choosing which reality to reinforce. Studies in cognitive neuroscience have shown that when individuals mentally rehearse new identities and outcomes, the brain activates many of the same neural networks as if the experience were physically happening. This is one of the foundations of the work taught by Joe Dispenza, who explains that when you repeatedly think and feel into a new future, you begin to biologically signal the body to move out of the past. You are no longer emotionally addicted to the same patterns. You are training your nervous system to expect something new. But this shift cannot be built on force. It cannot be built on fear. It must be built from love. Love is not passive. Love is coherent energy. Research from the Harmath Institute shows that when we generate emotions like appreciation, compassion, and care, the heart enters a state of coherence, sending more organized signals to the brain. This improves decision-making, emotional regulation, and even immune response. When you make decisions from your heart instead of from fear, you are not being reckless, you are being aligned. Fear narrows perception. Love expands it. Fear asks, what if this goes wrong? Love asks, what if this works? And in 2026, the invitation is to let love be your filter for every intention you set. Setting intentions from a place of love changes everything. Instead of trying to manifest from lack, you begin to create from wholeness. Instead of chasing validation, you move with clarity. The law of attraction is not about controlling outcomes, it's about matching frequency. Emotion is the signal. Gratitude, joy, excitement, peace, and trust all carry a higher electromagnetic charge than anxiety, resentment, or self-doubt. Physics shows us that energy and matter are not separate. At the quantum level, everything exists as potential until observed. When you consistently feel the emotions of your future self, you collapse the probability field in that direction. This is not spiritual fantasy. This is supported by measurable changes in brain chemistry, including increased dopamine and serotonin when people visualize meaningful goals with emotional engagement. Forgiveness is one of the most powerful accelerators in this process. Not forgiveness as approval, but forgiveness as release. When you hold resentment, your nervous system stays locked in the past. Cortisol remains elevated. Stress hormones flood the body. Multiple studies in psychoneuroimmunology show that chronic emotional stress weakens immune function and disrupts cellular repair. Forgiveness, on the other hand, has been shown to lower blood pressure, reduce inflammation markers, and improve mental health outcomes. Forgiving others is not about them. Forgiving yourself is not about pretending you didn't know better. It's about acknowledging that you did the best you could with the level of awareness you had at the time. Self-forgiveness frees the energy that shame consumes. And shame is one of the lowest vibrational emotional states measured in psychological research. This is where the idea of "let them" becomes revolutionary. As taught by Mel Robbins, let them is not surrender, it is sovereignty. Let them misunderstand you. Let them choose differently. Let them project their fears. Let them walk away. Let them stay stuck. Let them think what they want. Because the moment you stop managing other people's reactions, you reclaim your power. In 2026, let them becomes a spiritual boundary. It's the decision to stop outsourcing your peace. When you stop resisting what others do, you stop fighting reality, and paradoxically, life begins to cooperate with you more easily. Purposefulness is what anchors this new belief system. Purpose is not always about what you do, it's about how you choose to be. You can bring purpose into conversations, into rest, into healing, into rebuilding. Purpose is the energy behind action. When your actions are aligned with your values, your nervous system feels safe. This is why aligned action feels different than forced hustle. Tony Robbins often speaks about the difference between motion and progress. Motion is busy. Progress is intentional. Progress happens when your identity shifts. When you no longer see yourself as someone trying to get somewhere, but as someone becoming someone. And yet, discipline still matters. Love does not mean comfort all the time. Growth requires courage. David Goggins is a powerful reminder that mental toughness expands capacity. The brain is wired to protect, not to push. When you voluntarily do hard things, you teach the mind that discomfort is survivable. Studies on stress inoculation show that controlled exposure to challenge builds resilience and emotional regulation. This is not about punishment. It's about proving to yourself that you are capable. When belief meets action, confidence is born. Miracle stories often begin where logic ends. Placebo-controlled studies repeatedly demonstrate that belief alone can trigger measurable physiological change. In some trials, patients given sugar pills experienced real symptom relief simply because they believed healing was possible. Brain scans show activation in pain reduction centers when expectation shifts. The implication is staggering. Belief is not passive. Belief instructs biology. When people recover against odds, when they manifest opportunities they never imagined, it is rarely accidental. It is coherence between thought, emotion, and action. The law of attraction works best when it is paired with embodiment. You don't attract what you want, you attract who you are being. When you walk like the person who trusts life, speaks like the person who knows their worth, and chooses like the person who believes they are supported, the world responds differently. This is not magic. Humans are extraordinarily sensitive to subtle cues. Confidence alters posture, tone, micro-expressions. Opportunity responds to congruence. Getting everything you ever dreamed of is not about collecting outcomes. It's about becoming the version of yourself that can receive without fear. Many people subconsciously block their manifestations because they don't feel safe holding more. This is why inner work matters. When self-worth rises, resistance falls. When resistance falls, flow increases. 2026 is not asking you to become someone new overnight. It's asking you to choose again. To choose love over fear. Intention over habit. Awareness over autopilot. Forgiveness over resentment. Presence over pressure. To consciously say, this is the year I stop rehearsing my limitations and start embodying my possibilities. This is the year I let go of what no longer aligns. This is the year I let myself receive. And when you do that, when your thoughts, emotions, and actions begin to speak the same language, life has no choice but to answer.